them in, and then all they had to do was not pray. Moses gonna let the people keep it. All he had to do was serve the Egyptians. All Yahshua had to do was say he wasn't the son of God. All Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael had to do was just bow down at the flute. Them niggas fools. They ain't had no fear. Not of man anyway. He said, we are fools for the Messiah's sake, but ye are wise in the Messiah. We are weak, but ye are strong. You are honorable, but we are despised. He said, for even unto this present hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place, and labor, working with our own hands. Being reviled, we bless. Being persecuted, we suffer. Being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day. Now you sit back and you look at Paul referring to the apostle, but now you sit back and look at our people. We the filth of the world. That's how they treat us. Look here, man. Look at our people. We sit back, man. These people talk bad about us. We bless them. These people talk about us horrible. We bless them. Then he said we the offscouring. He said we're made as the. He said when we defame, we entreat. Them people speaking. Come on, man. They call them thugs, and we asking for them not to do it. They doing that right now. He said we're defamed and we entreat. Are they not defaming them people out there right now? Y'all know what it is to defame somebody, right? Y'all know what that means, right? To defame somebody's character. That's to lie on them. Now you always gonna have some ignorant niggas in everything. Now you sit back and look at it now. Our people tearing these people's stuff up because they mad. White people tear their stuff up when they win a championship. I'm for real. They lose a game, they tear something up. Now I heard them say over there in Europe, right? You know, they just had the baseball game with no crowd, right? Y'all just heard them say they had a baseball game with no crowd, right? In Baltimore, right? They say in Europe for the soccer games, that's common practice. I said, wow. They said that's common practice for hooliganism, they say. Because they say them white folk get over there and get super drunk and just have an all-out brawl. At a soccer game. Now you sit back and say something. They call us beasts and animals. And you niggas getting drunk, pummeling each other for no apparent reason other than just to do it. Now you sit there and think about that. You ain't never seen no black, you know black people, boy, they go to a game, they finna get fresh. They get fresh to go to a sporting event like they going to the club. And you talking about getting drunk and beating each other up on general principle? And they say, boy, that tripped me out when they said over there in Europe, that's common practice. That's common practice. That's common practice. Common practice. But you know that hurt them people. You know that hurt the city of Baltimore? To have a baseball game played and they ain't made damn dollar. Ain't no up, no call, no commercial. Cause that's a hit, period. That's about 40 to 50,000 people. Tickets got to be refunded. You got to sit back and son that. That's concessions lost. That's concessions lost. Guess what? And they had to take the 3-game series that they was gonna play with the Rays that's supposed to be played in Baltimore, and they got to go to Tampa and play it. They had to. They already doing it. They playing right now. That's 3 games. That's 4 days worth of revenue gone. They can't get that back. They can't get that back. You know what I'm saying? No, what I'm sitting there telling you is a lot of sports teams, They make their money. You'll never hear a sports team talking about, like they say the baseball season too long, they need to shorten it. The NBA season too long, they need to shorten it. See, that'll never happen because you asking owners to give up home games, which means to give up a revenue stream. And you got to remember, he said they your possessors. I done had this conversation with many people. I just seen Pastor was just talking about this Wednesday, and I know this period. They got mad at Rasheed Wallace for saying this some years back. They got mad at Adrian Peterson for saying it because they tried to shame him because of the amount of money that these brothers made. But they said we ain't nothing but slaves. They said, how could you be a slave? You make millions of dollars. I'm just a little bit higher paid slave. I'm still a slave nonetheless. And they treat the men like slaves. You know what they call sports athletes? You know what they call them? Do y'all know what they call them? When they go to talk about trades and free agency and all that stuff, you know what they call grown men? Anybody. Anybody? Or am I just asking the question to myself? I would say I know the answer. I'm asking the question. Well, over here they call them assets. They call them assets. You know what an asset is, right? That's property. That's property. That's property. Yeah, call them assets. Don't you know during the time of slavery that as many slaves you had, that's how much money you had, they were your assets? Any of y'all sit and watch ESPN, sit back and talk to them, they talking about they got some trade assets. They say it all the time. That's what they call these men, assets. When you look at the NFL, it's about 70% black. When you look at the NBA, it's like 80 to 85. You think they use that terminology for no reason? Or you think they're trying to tell you something? Our people don't look at stuff like that, do we? We don't look at stuff like that. It's not important. I'm getting paid, nigga. I ain't no slave. Any of y'all ever heard them athletes when they say, man, we ain't nothing but slaves, they try to shame them. Look at the money you making. Look at the money, you ain't no slave. I am a slave. You want me to dress a particular way? You want me to speak a particular way? You want me to do particular things? You know what I'm saying? What is that? Because you give me a few $1 million to do it? And then when my body broke down and you can't use me no more, you toss me away like an old toy. Only difference is in the NBA, they contract guaranteed. So if them niggas want to mail it in, you still got to pay me, little buddy. NFL players don't have that luxury. That's why a lot of them poor. Same thing with wrestlers. I just was reading about the top 10 richest wrestlers, period. A lot don't even know. I didn't even know wrestlers got to pay for their own travel expenses. And these men wrestle 300 days a year and they got to pay for their travel. WWE don't pay for it. They make their money based on how much they on TV and how much merchandise they sell. And you wonder why some of them niggas fight to keep their spot. See, not too many black men get too high in that business. Because they're not going to let that happen. Couple sneak through, but they ain't going to let that happen. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of compromising and selling out you got to do to be successful in this land. Moses sat back and looked at, I don't want your riches. I take the reproach of the Lord. I esteem that a greater value. He said, I'm not scared of the king's commandment. He said, I ain't scared of it. I want you to come back to Lamentations chapter 4. He said, I ain't scared of it. He said, I'm going to endure. I'm going to take it. I'm going to look to him that's invisible. Same thing to the Lord. That's why he say, Father, I commend into thy hands, I commend my spirit. I endure it, Father. I'm going to put my trust in you. That's what we had to sit back and look at, even of what we dealing with in this land. It's certain things that we can do that if the Lord see fit, he can make them be profitable. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that we can do. Like it's certain brothers that I know of that, you know, they be online and there's a lot of stuff they be wanting to do, man, and I don't even knock them. Some of them got some whole type tendencies on how they go about doing things, whatever the case may be. But the premise of what they trying to do, I can't even be mad at them. I can't never be mad at anybody that want to economically empower their own people. Some niggas just use a lot of, go about it in a certain business type manners that I myself wouldn't deal with. Me personally. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't mad at them though. You know what I'm saying? Because our people need that. That's the one thing that we had before desegregation that we no longer have anymore. You know what I'm saying? Me and my homeboy used to talk about this all the time when I first got out of prison. In the 60s, you know, black men taught their sons to get a trade. By the time it got there when we were teenagers in the late 90s, about to become grown men, that wasn't taught. Ain't nobody tell you. They just told you to go to college and figure something out. Because the only thing that you were told is you wanted to be rich. You know what I'm saying? You want to do this here, you want to do this here. And the most thing that most people just aspiring to be is an athlete or an entertainer. I knew at an early age, I knew at 17 I wanted to do real estate. My mind had already been made up on that. I had seen a couple things that caught my interest and I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I may not become a multi-millionaire, but I know I could live comfortably and I know I could probably leverage that into other avenues that I want to do business where I could have became a millionaire. But situation and circumstances didn't dictate to allow me to focus on that completely as I desired. A lot of things that make young black males snap is lack of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them don't get opportunity. A lot of them like this here. Some of them, like I said, some of them might not have an extensive work history. See, now like how they do applications, a lot of them are done online. A lot of people don't see them. And if they do see them, your application got to stand out. But that same person application you might overlook because they might have not all those bells and whistles. If they actually had the opportunity to get in your face and sell themselves to you, you probably hire them on the spot. And they probably would outwork the person with all the degrees and got more ingenuity and intelligence than somebody who went to college for 8 or 12 years. But since they don't get the opportunity, it's never known. You know what I'm saying? But that's all it takes. Some people, they just need the opportunity. So that's another reason why those young men up there in Baltimore are snapping like that, because they have no opportunities. They sitting back looking at the only opportunity I have to feed and care for myself is to sell drugs. They're not selling drugs because I just delight in being a drug dealer. Some niggas do. Most of them don't. Because when they look up in their neighborhoods, they don't see many dudes that get up and got a decent job that make a decent wage. They don't see many legal businessmen. They see the dope boys and the gangsters. And they see men who made an opportunity for themselves. So therefore they want to emulate them. So now when we sit back and we look at it as men right now in these days and times, we have to sit back and fashion our mind to be able to sit back and look at, I have to be able to make an opportunity for myself. So I ain't had no other choice. The Lord said, because these people wasn't giving me no opportunity. He set certain things up where I would have to make it for myself because they wasn't going to give it to me. And when I say opportunity, I'm just talking about all I need is an interview. I feel like this here. It's just certain things I done learned over time. I remember when one time I went on the interview when I was young and the dude gave me a tip. He said, always remember, when you're doing a job interview, you selling yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know how to sell themselves. The way you would convince these people why they would want to hire you. I went to one thing, but it was somewhere I ain't messing with it, man. It was the people who be out there selling them knockoff perfumes. But when I sat down there and talked to this man was shocked and amazed because I took the tip that man had told me previously. See, sometimes in life, man, sometimes every now and then as black men, we just going to have to create our own opportunity. Can't sit back and look at these people going to do it because you already know they don't want to. And if you don't have the skills or the education or the history, extensive job history in certain places, these people may or may not fool with you. So sometimes you have to do it for yourself. Y'all hear me? Sometimes you might have to do it for yourself. I say, man, I already had something in my mind. I've been planning it for a long time. And Lord will, stuff starting to fall right on into place. I was talking with my homeboy Link about it the other day, and Lord will not be able to do mine, so I can help him do what he got in his mind, what he want to do. Because I already know, I done told you. I done already mentioned this here. My old lady is not going to, she's not going to have to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. I haven't had no woman I ever dealt with that I was like, boy, I'm going to take care of. It was only one woman in my entire life that I'm like, I'm going to take care of. And there she go right there. And there she go right there. Straight up. I dealt with a few women in my lifetime. I ain't never have it in my mind, I'm going to take care of them. No. No. Straight up. Because none of them came before Little Muffin. Not one of them. And they all knew it too. I may not openly and verbalize that to them, but they knew it though. I had a girl I was messing with, she told me, oh, you won't leave. She was going to the Air Force. She was like asking me would I go with her. I don't know if she was serious or not. And she was like, you gonna leave Fred and Carrie. Talking about fat boy, I won't leave them. I'm thinking in my mind, I won't leave Little Muffin. That's who I'm not gonna leave. I love my niggas. I mean, I would have left. You know what I'm saying? Seen something different, don't work out. Come on back home. But then a part of me wouldn't have left either because I would have had to live with you. Because obviously you the one leaving out of state. So obviously I ain't got nothing solidified and I would have had to live with you. I don't know if I'd have been comfortable with that. I know I wasn't comfortable with that. That's why if it had actually been a tangible thing to do, I still wouldn't have done it. Even without my sister. But I wasn't leaving my sister though. You know what I'm saying? If she wouldn't have got married, I'd have been looking out and concerned about my sister's welfare and well-being to this very moment. The minute she got married, the minute I went to the courthouse with them, before they actually did it, I looked him right in the face, told Dwight, she your responsibility now. It's no longer my concern. That day, matter of fact, the anniversary of this month. I told him that day, that's no longer my responsibility anymore. That's yours. That ball has been passed. You know what I'm saying? That responsibility has been passed. Straight up. Because that's the only woman I ever said in my entire life, I'm like, I'm going to take care of. Period. The way it was in my mind, it was one, but it was because of more so of the Lord, more than me wanting to do it. Because I was willing to do what he wanted me to do versus me wanting to do it personally. I was willing to do it because that's my duty to do it. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to take care of Little Muffin. Ain't nobody have to tell me to do that. My mama ain't have to tell me to do that. No human being had to tell me to do that. I wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? Now with my old lady, I want to do it. She ain't got to worry about nothing. We're going to put this stuff in place and go. And go. That's how each and every one of you men supposed to look at your wife. I got to put something in place. I got to go. If I got to bide my time working for somebody till I can figure out to make an opportunity for myself where I can work for myself, then do that. Because see, that's a whole serious thing, man. That's why I be telling y'all, some of y'all just want to get married, sit back and do stuff. Man, you already know, man, you ain't willing to ride all the way to the bus out for that woman. Ain't no sense of thinking about marrying that woman or even dealing with her. Don't even talk to her. Don't even deal with her. If you already know, man, you ain't willing to go all the way out about that. That you ain't actually sitting in your mind formulating ways where you can generate more income, not only for yourself, but for the benefit of your wife and for your kids, and that you're willing to die for them and willing to stand up as a man for them in every aspect of life, period, natural and spiritual. What you fooling with her for? Because he can tell you right now, when we first really started talking, I already told her, I got to have a plan in place to take care of you. You not taking care of me. That's not going to happen. I was already putting a plan in together for myself, But now I'm sitting included, I got to have something even more solidified and even more powerful because I must take care of you. There's no other way that got that. There's no other, I can't even, no. There's no way in the world. I was telling my sisters the other day, I ain't never lived off no woman. I don't know how I feel. I ain't never lived with a woman. I've never had a woman take care of me. Man, my mama ain't never really gave me no money since I was like 16 years. Man, the last thing my mama bought me, man, really bought me, man, when I was hustling at the time, when she bought me a Verizon phone, man, when I was like 20, 21 years old. Nigga, if I ain't have it, I just ain't have it, man. I ain't had nobody give me nothing. Ain't no, like niggas going out looking for a woman to sleep with and get with to get her tax return money. I don't know how I feel. I ain't never did it. I ain't never thought about doing it. I ain't never thought about living. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never thought about living in a woman's house. I ain't never thought about using a woman for her stuff. This the first time I ever drove a woman car. Is Nicole car. This the first time. I ain't never did it. It never thought my mind to mess with a woman to use her. I know niggas do it every day. I was always a nigga, I want my own car. I want my own house. I need my own cash. Because this woman, this my old lady, this ain't my mama. Like, how could I let a woman take care of me and feel good about myself as a man? That's how we got to sit back and look at, we got to stop letting these people look at us as we allowing these people to take care of us. Start to craft our minds to be able to create opportunities for ourselves so we can take care of each other. So our brothers and sisters ain't got to keep going asking, especially our brothers, asking the very people who hate them for a job. We can give them one. I'm not sitting back saying we'll be able to do that in 3 to 6 months. But y'all get what I'm talking about. It ain't the first time I done said it. That's been my objective since I was 16 years old. It ain't changed. Lord willing, bring it to pass when we do something. Cause I don't mind. I'll invest in a nigga. They got a good idea and I know what they doing. If I don't trust you to run business, I ain't giving none of my money to you. And I'll tell you that straight to your face. Ain't nothing personal. I don't trust your business acumen. You find somebody else who got enough more sense to run it, maybe we can do something. I don't trust you to do it. And I don't particularly have the time nor care to run the business you seek to run. Oh, no, don't do the pyramid scheme, man. Lamentations 4 and 16. They say, the anger of Yah have divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the person of the priest. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. This is a verse that came to my mind because when I was watching CNN, that brother stood out there and he said the nations of the world should stand up and help the black man because we are oppressed. That's the first thing came to my mind. These people can't save you. Look what he say though. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Oh man. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled. Our end is come. What are the police out there doing? They hunting your steps. They are hunting your steps that you can't even go on the street. Look what else he say. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. That's what they out here doing. These people sit back and they hunting our steps. They watching us, they following us, and they killing us to the point we don't even want to come out the house. Why you think them brothers out there tearing that stuff up? Because they not hunting white folk steps. They not hunting Hispanic steps. They not hunting Arab steps. They not hunting Asian steps. They hunting niggas. They hunting black people. You know what I'm saying? I want to sit back up and tell you, and I would mention that, then I ain't go to it in great detail because I wanted them to more focus on the saving of their soul Tuesday. When I called into that, then I was talking to them. I just wanted them to look at it differently. You know what I'm saying? Because matter of fact, I told them that when I first started speaking, that I would be speaking naturally and spiritually. And I told them naturally, oh yeah, I feel them. Because I would be out there with them. If I wasn't in the word, boy, and I stayed up there, I'd have been out there with him. At 34 years old, what you young niggas want to do? It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because that same fervor and vigor that I had at 16, 17, 18 like they got, I ain't never lose it. See, a lot of brothers, they end up losing it over the course of time as this world go to beating down on them, and they just acquiesce and they lose that. I ain't never lose it. I ain't never lose it. We can ride. We can do whatever you want to do. But when you sit back and you look at it, we can no longer look for a people. Philippians, matter of fact, Matthew chapter 24. He said we looking for a nation that couldn't save us. He said that's what we were watching for. Matthew 24. And then we'll just call it a day right there. We'll just call it a day right there. Matthew 24. Let me see what verse did I want. About verse 29 or 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. And we sit back and look at it when the time comes, when that dragon be wroth with that woman, and he go to make war with the remnant of her seed, those that can keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Yahshua the Messiah. Or like he said in Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, the devil will cast some of you into prison that you may be tried, but be faithful unto death, because you'll receive a crown of life. It's going to come a time. The Lord told you there'll come a time where they will kill you and thinking they doing God's service. Y'all hear me? There's going to come a time where these people going to kill, because these people are already killing you now, and they say we offend not. Because they sinned against God. We ain't did nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying right now. They say we devoured them. Say we ain't did nothing wrong. They sinned against the habitation of Yah. They sinned against Yah, the hope of their father. We ain't did nothing wrong. But then the time gonna come when they actually sit back, and now we standing on God's word and they preaching the word, and these people gonna come to persecute you in your streets to hunt your steps, because they already hunting our steps now on general principle. They already hunting our steps now on general principle. What you think gonna happen with the word? Because the man just said great tribulation gonna come. But listen to what he said here in verse 29 though. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall be gathered together, his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Now learn the parable of the fig tree when its branch is yet tender, and put forth leaves, you know the summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know it is near, even at the door. So you know what that means? Instead of looking to these nations and that vain help, know that your help comes from heaven. Know that you should be looking unto he that sit at the right hand of the Father, that he will be the one to come save you, because these people not going to do it. That's good though. Y'all understood all these things tonight? Praise ye y'all for Yahshua HaMashiach. Y'all understood all this here? Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. That's what y'all got to sit back and look at now.